Hey bookmarks and bookworms, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to tell you about 10 exciting new literary fiction releases coming out early 2024. I'm going to go through these 10 books in publication date order, and so coming out on the 30th of January we have Hard by a Great Forest by Leo Vardiashvili. This comes with a glowing recommendation from one of my favourite authors, Khaled Hosseini, and Khaled Hosseini is not an author that you see often giving recommendations for other novels. And so I want to read you out Khaled Hosseini's recommendation specifically because I think it is really exciting to view the book in this way. So he says, "This novel annihilated me. I gasped, I laughed, and wept my way through it. Rich with irony and animated with astonishing humanity, this tale of a young Georgian refugee's odyssey into his birthplace to rescue family left my heart bruised and battered and aching for more." So, as a lover of Hosseini's work myself, hearing a review like this, I'm a big emotional reader when it comes to really getting to the heart of a novel and letting it speak to my heart, and this book just seems to be doing that for Khaled Hosseini, and given that Khaled Hosseini evokes that in me in his writing, then I think this is a surefire bet that I'm going to absolutely love this release. This is an author that I've never heard of before, but that recommendation from one of my favourite authors alone is enough for it to rocket to the top of my early 2024 TBR. Up next, coming out in February, is Michael Crummey's The Adversary. Now, I received an advanced copy of this, and so I can attest to the fact that this is a really great 2024 new release that you're going to want on your TBRs. I love an isolated setting, and this is set in an outpost on the northern shoreline of Newfoundland. And here the story centres around a battle that ensues between the main man and woman on the island who dominate the merchant shipping trade of the region, each fighting for the scarce resources of the North Atlantic fishery. So as their animosity and violence towards each other increases, we see the breakdown of the local community and the inevitable devastating consequences that result from this seemingly irreparable divide. Through merciless seasons of uncertainty and storms and pandemics, we see the human heart actually be the most formidable and unpredictable enemy in this seemingly endless feud. If that sounds like a plot that really intrigues you, it is as compulsively readable as it sounds, and it is borderline unputdownable. Then out on the 5th of March we have Like It Never Happened by Jeff Hoffman. This centres around 4 boys who end up in a fight outside Burger King one night, resulting in one of them dying. They're teenagers at this point, but they meet up at a friend's funeral as mature grown adults, and it becomes clear that the new widow of their friend that died, knows about their secret. The man that passed away passed on to his wife this guilty secret that he'd been harbouring for all of those years, and so she now is confronting the 3 remaining friends on basically outing them because this murder still remains unsolved. This is a psychological suspense novel, and that type of novel normally really works for me, and so this will all come down to this new to me author and how well I get along with their writing and their characterisation. Next up we have Parasol Against the Axe by Helen Oyeyemi. This is also coming out on the 5th of March, and some of you may be surprised to know that I actually have never read a Helen Oyeyemi book before. So if this is longlisted for the Women's Prize this year, or who knows, maybe the Booker Prize as well, then this very well could be my first dive into her work. So this is about a lady called Hero who finds herself dragged along to a bachelorette party to Prague. She brings along this book with her that seems to be warping her mind because it changes depending on when it's being read and who it's being read by. I believe the text actually changes, so this would be a lovely magical realist element, and as I'm sure you all know, I love magical realism. I really think it is a wonderful way to explore in stories. This book really questions how much a tale is influenced by its reader and vice versa. This is meant to be a challenging fever dream type of read. It's also told in stream of consciousness, so for anyone who does not get along with that, they may struggle. I'm looking at me here, I may struggle. But ultimately this is a queer story set against an ever-changing absurdist backdrop, and I've read a lot of absurdism in 2023, and it's something that really speaks to me on a humour level, and so I would be interested in at least trying this book. On the 9th of April we have The Sleepwalkers by Scarlett Thomas. I can definitely recommend this book. I received an advanced reader copy of this book as well, and this was really great. I really enjoyed the protagonist. She is a newlywed wife who is going on honeymoon with her husband to a Greek island, and she thinks that the hotel owner, Isabella, is propositioning her husband. She feeds him the food that he wants and that he requests, and then she doesn't feed her the food that she wants and that she requests. One example being that she really wanted a delicious bowl of mixed local fruits for breakfast, and she received 4 slices of dry kind of unripe melon and some raisins on top, I think it was. And so so she felt she was being targeted, I guess, indirectly. But there is a mystery going on at this resort at the same time, where hotel guests are being drugged up, they're walking out into the sea whilst they're sleepwalking, and then they're drowning. And so there is this underlying threat and tension, dis-ease in the backdrop to this otherwise honeymoon story of what is going on here. And the new wife really does teeter on the edge of that reliable, unreliable narrator line as she becomes increasingly paranoid about the hotel owner, Isabella. So the strength of this novel lies in great character development, coupled with this suspenseful, gothic, storm-looming Greek island. On the 11th of April we have Hagstone by Sinead Gleeson. This is a debut novel coming from an Irish writer. There does appear to be a bit of a renaissance going on over the last couple of years in terms of great new literary writers coming out of Ireland. This is clearly what happens when you prioritise and fund arts and culture in your country. There have been so many books over the last couple of years that have been centred on Ireland and told by Irish writers that have just been me all over as a reader. They have been Charlotte Catnip, and this one is no different. This is about an artist living on the rugged, wild, isolated island that has become a place of refuge for a commune of women who have travelled there specifically. And all the islanders live alongside this murmuring sound, this supernatural sound that they call the summoning. So we're dealing with thematically myth and folklore, landscape and the natural world and femininity, and all of those themes just scream my name that I want to pick up this book. This has already been compared to the work of Sarah Moss and Margaret Atwood. Now, will we be seeing this on the Women's Prize long list for 2025? Because it's just missed the eligibility dates for 2024. Next up on the 2nd of May is Earth by John Boyne. This is the second instalment in his planned quartet, which has an elemental theme because his first novel was Water and this one is now Earth. I absolutely loved Water, which was the first instalment, when I read it back in December 2023. In this one, the story is totally different, following a totally different cast of characters. Here, the story centres around 2 footballers who have been charged with sexual assault. We follow one of the men, called Evan, as he tells us his story as to what got him to this point. Since leaving his island, his life has been a lie on many different levels. He's a talented footballer who wanted to be an artist. He's a gay man in a sport that rejects diversity. And he's a defendant whose knowledge of what happened on that night threatens not only his career, but his identity. The jury will deliver their verdict by the end of the novel, but Evan also, at the same time, needs to decide and judge for himself whether or not he has become the man he always wanted himself to be. My expectations are already sky high for this novel. I absolutely love John Boyne's writing and characters. He's one of my favourite authors, and so this is one of the most anticipated 2024 new releases for me. Next up on the 7th of May is Enlightenment by Sarah Perry. This is the author of The Essex Serpent, who I'm sure needs no introduction. There will be so many of us on BookTube who are so excited that this is finally out, finally a new book by Sarah Perry. This one feels very similar to The Essex Serpent. It's a story of love and astronomy, told over the course of 20 years through the lives of two improbable friends. The most striking aspect to this for me is the astronomy angle. Sarah Perry has not done an astronomy angle before. It's a topic that I'm very interested in, and so that for me is the biggest draw of this book. It's set in Essex again, and we follow a man called Thomas who becomes obsessed with a 19th century astronomer that's said to be haunting the local manor. Rich in symmetry and symbolism, this is meant to be Perry's best book to date. And this is another one where it's just missed the eligibility dates for Women's Prize 2024, but it is eligible then for 2025. On to the last book, also coming out on the 7th of May. This is Whale Fall by Elizabeth O'Connor. This is another exciting debut discussing themes of folklore and isolation. Really buzzy themes. Folklore, isolation, femininity, island. There's a lot of similarity going on, and I love it because I love all of those themes. In 1938, a dead whale washes up on the shores of a Welsh island, and the locals take it as a bad omen as to what's happening in the outside world. There is then the arrival of two English ethnographers around the same time, who were there to study the community's culture. The outside world closing quickly in on this isolated, close-knit community. This is giving off massive The Colony by Audrey McGee vibes. That was one of my favourite books, along with so many of your guys' favourite books, I know. So let's all read this as soon as it comes out in May. I feel like so many people are going to absolutely love this. It's speaking to great writing and great theming, and yeah, that link to The Colony by Audrey McGee is the biggest seller of this book. The Colony by Audrey McGee is one of those books that I would just love to be able to reread again for the first time, and this seems like a great opportunity to kind of do that. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. I really hope that I shared with you some new and exciting 2024 releases that you may not have heard of yet. Do let me know in the comments down below which of these you would like to read, and also leave me down below any 2024 new releases that you have stumbled across in your research that you feel I may enjoy. I am always on the lookout for new book recommendations, so please do share the bookish love. If you would like to buddy read some books with me, I do run a book club, and the sign up link for that is always listed in the description box below. Other than that, I shall see you very soon in my next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye!